So, first we have approval of minutes from the following meetings. We need a motion.
I move we approve the minutes from August 8th.
I second the motion.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's passed.
Is that for the first site?
Approval of minutes for
I said
August
8th and
8th.
11th.
Okay.
Oh, you said 8th?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So, which actually is
Just
the
wanted to make
9th and the
sure.
11th, but yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got all the minutes approved. Public comment items not on the agenda, and I believe this is where Dan wants to talk.
Oh, hey, yeah. My name's Dan.
You want to come closer to the microphone?
Sure, yeah.
Hold it there.
There you go.
Thanks.
So this is just emails I sent to the airport in February, just letting the airport know that I think the viewing deck needs to be stained and power washed and stained.
Mm-hmm.
It was done it was built in 2018. I was one of the three or four contractors that pulled the paperwork on it to do a bid on it.
Mm-hmm.
That was, I think, looks like Calucci won the bid, and I had a non-bid. I'd actually talked to Zimmerman ahead of time and said, pull my bid, and I don't know, I guess he didn't have it pulled in time for that paperwork.
Still showed it. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm very familiar with it. I think in the winning bid was like 80,000 something for the whole thing.
Yeah.
And as a contractor and a painter and a stainer, especially in Iowa, they need to be preserved every 3 to 5 years because of our harsh winters. And I don't know if it was ever stained to get in the beginning, but it doesn't look like it. I noticed it last year, and I pointed out in February. And I think Michael, we spoke on the phone, and I think he said you thought it needed to go to bid. So I've just kind of been waiting this year to bid on it. But I don't know if it needs to go to bid because it's under a $25,000. My estimate was about $3,000, and it's way under 25 that a normal municipal project would be expected to be, sort of like a cutoff line.
Jennifer?
Right, so for public comment, since it's not on the agenda, you just can listen.
Okay.
You really shouldn't have any discussion or make any decisions.
Okay.
You, of course, can decide to put it on a subsequent agenda, but it needs to be noticed of. So if there were other people that wanted to talk on the topic, they would be aware of it.
Okay.
So two things essentially. I expressed my interest, but more importantly, it's a city. I don't know if the feds paid for it, or if the state or the county or the city, but someone paid for it. The taxpayer ultimately paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
And something that big and that large and for public use, you don't want to have to be torn down in 10 years and redone. So it really should be on its second staining already. And I took lessons here at the airport in 07, 08, so I'm sort of familiar with the airport. And I often ride my bike down to Hills and Riverside and come back and stop out there to watch planes. And I did so a few weeks ago. And I thought, it still hasn't been done this summer, and it's starting to raise a little bit. It's not splintering yet, but it's getting to that point where, next year you're probably going to have to power sand it, or, a year or two, so people don't splinter it or whatnot. So I would just recommend having someone do it.
So you think it could be
Thank
done
you.
now without sanding it?
I think it'd be done now without sanding it. It's not going to be like
Yeah.
table flat. It's starting to get a little bit of ridgy, but it's not at the point where someone's going to get a splinter in their foot or a splinter on their hand. If there were a few small spots, personally, I'd hit them with the power sander and just to smooth them out. And I think, I don't know. I brought the plans I pulled in 2018. I'd have to look at it, but I think there were, if I remember right, there were multiple types of wood on there. There might have been a pine wood section and a cedar wood section, but I would use I would use a good Cabot oil stain, and it'd soak in every bit of 2 coats because it needs it. So that's my recommendation, is just have it done before this winter, before it gets another. I don't know if you salt the runways here or not, but you can use it.
You can't salt them.
You don't salt them?
No, aluminum airplanes.
Oh, okay. Aluminum doesn't
Doesn't like salt.
Yeah, okay. All right. So
We use an ice melt that isn't.
Oh yeah, you spray it
Sodium.
with that. Yeah.
Have to work on that.
Okay.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you.
Thank you so much. I
This
really
is really
appreciate this. Bring this to our
important
attention.
for us to
Maybe-
hear.
You should put it on the schedule
the agenda
every 3 to 5 years. Put it on the schedule for maintenance. Maybe get another 15 years out of it if it's sealed good and preserved well. well. So
Thank you.
yeah, I'll just sit and listen.
Yeah.
Looks like the meeting's only gonna be half an hour, so I might just sit and listen and hear what else.
See how it
You're
goes.
welcome.
Yes, sit and enjoy.
Check out a meeting. Thanks, Judy.
Thank you. So that's something we could put on the agenda for next time to look at.
I'll talk about it during the budget session.
Okay.
Because it's on our to-do list.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, we're on to items, discussion, action. Mural project. Wendy, do you want to say anything?
Yeah.
Are we?
So we've had a flurry of meetings over the last, week.
Yeah?
Judy and I in discussing the mural project, and I think we're looking to alter the schedule slightly.
Okay.
One of the things that I'm having trouble with is as we fundraise, or as we prep to fundraise, we really don't have a good vision of what that thing's going to look like. So I think what we want to do is work with Wendy now to get the RFQ out and get an artist so that we can get at least a concept that we can then use to kick off the
I
fundraising.
agree.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And it's always been the chicken and the egg, is
Yeah.
that we don't know how much it costs, but we don't know what the ballpark is, we don't have a concept.
We do now have kind of a ballpark of about $40,000.
Okay.
That was from the meeting with the artist that Wendy helped coordinate.
Yeah.
Wendy Ford is our liaison for the Public Arts Advisory Commission. She's welcome to come up here. So that's generally what we're looking at, and then I think the other thought process was to speed up the RFQ process to empower the subcommittee to approve the RFQ. That way, we've discussed this in the commission as far as what we're looking for, but the RFQ, I did not put a draft of what Wendy sent out yesterday, the day before. But generally speaking, again, trying to keep the process open, not really limit the artist to any specific design. I know we had, as far as the commission goes, we had talked a lot about this historical timeline scenario,
Yes.
but that kind of also causes some issues with trying to promise certain elements that, again, we don't have an artist lined up for. So it really impacts what we can do.
I think it should be left wide open. I mean, we've got some general guidance,
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
examples, but I'd be very interested in the artists' ideas. And given the size of it, they might want to do something a little more blocky, a little more,
Whatever, yeah.
Had you talked about the idea of selecting a short list of artists and paying them a stipend to further develop a concept which they would then more formally present to you? You would choose that artist who would then design or then have a concept that you could take on your fundraising visits.
I saw that in the RFQ, and I thought that was a very good idea.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the way to do it.
Good.
The process we'd like to use, yeah.
So at this point, what do we need to do a motion to have the
At this
subcommittee?
point, yeah, just for kind of the minutes purposes, if there's a
Okay.
motion to empower the subcommittee to approve the RFQ.
Okay.
What we'll do, I'll treat it, and we'll treat it kind of like we do with the engineering services things, RFQs that we submit. But basically, yeah, we'll subcommittee, Wendy, myself, will probably make up the initial review round, and then we'll forward the final 3 to the airport commission.
And the subcommittee will be me and Electra
Electra.
Yeah,
only, right? So it won't be 3 of us making an agenda.
that's the...
So, yeah, having read the proposed RFQ and the revised schedule and having an understanding of what we're trying to accomplish, which I'm in favor of, and also given the need for some expediency here, I make a motion to empower the mural subcommittee to make the approval of the RFQ.
Okay, is there a
I will second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's passed.
All right.
Does that give
Well, that was
She runs a very quick meeting, by the way. She just,
We just had a public art commission meeting that was 25 minutes long, so hey, more power to you.
Yeah, if there are any other questions before Wendy takes off,
I just want to express my appreciation, Wendy. Thank you very much for making the extra time and working with us. I think we're very excited to...
Oh, well, we're very excited too. We're looking at this as the large project of the
Yeah,
year, and
that's
that's always very exciting.
It's great. And I think there's so much opportunity to more deeply align and synergize with the city. So this is a great
Yeah.
first step.
Absolutely. And this one's fun because not only do you have a chicken and an egg, you have a horse and a cart. They all have kind of line up too. So I'll look forward to a call and we can get together and
Yes.
iron out some details then.
Perfect.
Great.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for coming.
Sure. Happy to.
Okay, airport construction projects.
All right. Somehow I made on this version of the revised agenda, I managed to put back on the East End rehab.
Yeah.
That is complete, so look forward to that drop off. Threshold relocation, we're just waiting to hear back from our contractor and contractors to get the final schedule details of how and when they're going to do the painting. It's still set up for be the first couple of weeks of October.
But the FAA is still going to fly it in November.
is still online to publish the November 3rd. Excuse me. The November 3rd publication, so we'll have everything done mid-October to submit the survey data and anything else that we need to submit.
Our surveyors they're waiting as soon as we give them the call. It says the marking's done. They'll be here to get that in and submit it. So
Okay.
So that's where that is.
Waiting.
And as soon as I hear anything, we'll push that information out to the tenants. South T Hangar infrastructure. I think the last message I got regarding this, I think our contractor is going to take advantage of the extended time, and this is going to be a spring project.
Okay.
Is that the?
yes,
Yeah.
we didn't want them to rush or get late and have
The weather.
freezing concrete or anything like that. So we gave them the option. If they wanted to do it this fall, that was fine. But we pushed the date out, completion date out, so if they wanted to fit it in next year's schedule, we'd get more bids too, and they were more competitive.
Have we run into any availability issues with increased highway funding and more projects?
The big thing this year is actually cement for concrete.
Just cement, yeah.
It's ridiculous. I mean, we have a runway we were going to cement treat, and they need like 1,300 tons, and they're getting allocated 25 tons a week. So, that's
going to take a while, yeah.
Oh, very short on
So it's putting it off a bit. They'll just start stockpiling. We had another project where they brought the cement in on train from Colorado. Wow. So that may be why they wanted to push it off till spring.
Right. Yeah, that's why I was asking.
Or at least on paving projects. Now, we're running into things on electrical projects and vertical projects. I mean, everything is delayed, but on a paving or flat, the biggest delay we've been having so far is cement.
We kind of saw that with our work out here on the runway and the PAPI foundations that
Had trouble getting.
yeah.
Okay. So that's a wait, DOT grant?
The DOT grants, I do not have the grants in hand yet, so what I have proposed to the commission is essentially an authorization for the chair to sign the grants when we get them. These are grants we've applied for, we know we're getting. They are part of the Transportation Commission's approved FY23 aviation program, so it's just a matter of the paperwork catching up, and as soon as we get them, basically Carl and Bolton and Mink can kind of start the legwork on putting our plans together and getting that process going.
Okay. So we need a resolution.
So I move that we adopt a resolution authorizing the chairperson to accept the Iowa Department of Transportation aviation grants for airport wayfinding signage and terminal building rehabilitation projects.
I second the motion.
Voting. Bishop.
Aye.
Claire.
Aye.
Me. Aye. Okay.
Is that your name? Me?
Sorry. Full. Okay. We did that one. Okay, the parking lot addition resolution.
Parking lot bids came in just about where we thought they'd be. I know I did put that in the packet.
Yeah.
Remind me, is that
You wanna read it
concrete?
from there?
Or-
That's concrete.
It's concrete.
That's concrete. So it has a curb on the
got
inner
that. Okay.
inner edges towards the beacon, but then it fans out so that everything drains towards the sides. Low bid was All-American Concrete, which is also our taxiway contractor. They had a low bid of $72,577. Engineering is also recommending the awarding of the contract. So The resolution before you is to accept the bids and award the contract to All American.
Okay.
All right.
Who wants to read?
I move that we adopt a resolution accepting bids and awarding contract for the airport parking lot expansion project to All American Concrete of West Liberty, Iowa.
Second.
Second.
Okay. All in favor. Let's see. We have Bishop.
Aye.
Quare.
Aye.
Full. Aye. That passed. Okay. Looking for these.
All right. Future projects, terminal area study, and the solar power panel project. I'm going to talk about these a little bit at the same time. Good news is, talk to the FAA in Kansas City at the Kansas City conference. They're still supportive of the contract, or supportive of the projects, supportive of the plans that the Airport Commission has. Bad news is we do have to go through an engineering selection process to get our engineers on board. Okay. So that's going to delay everything a bit. However, the nice thing is we can do one engineering RFQ for both of these projects, the BIL projects. Okay. Bolton Mink is still under a 5-year contract through the end of 2023, and I'm expecting FAA to issue goal letters this fall for what would essentially be the runway 1230.
Taxi?
No, runway. Displaced threshold and extension. Yeah. So that will kind of fill out that contract, and then next year, kind of in the summer, we will start the process of doing the 5-year engineering, which will include whatever we have on the table for AIP projects, so like the aircraft parking area, the ramp expansion, a couple of rounds of runway rehab, crack sealing, because we've still got a couple of phases of that to do. And then we'll include the construction, the design construction of the terminal building pending the study, so that we don't have to go back and deal with some of those other things. And I might include some other possible BIL projects, just to not have to go through the process again, because it is kind of a pain.
I think that's a good part of the FAA program too.
But I mean, it'll run similar to how we're going to do the RFQ with the for the artwork, where we'll send out the RFQ. There'll be a subcommittee of myself, probably a commission member. I usually pull somebody from engineering and purchasing for those. And then we forward the top 3 to the Airport Commission for interviews, assuming there are more than 3 submittals. So that's where those are.
What are the next steps on either of those projects then?
Right now, it's write the RFQ so that we can approve it next month is my plan, and get that out the door. That way we can get cranking, especially on the terminal building study, because that's a finite timeline of going after additional money.
Gotcha.
I mean, both have finite timelines.
Together a cost estimate so you can send applications in for those.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the solar power, it will
Solar
be
power,
under that part too?
Yeah, it'll be under that part, because the consultant that we're going to have on board will need to do ALP update and whatever FAA permissions are required to build on the airport, because we're going to have ground level panels.
Okay. On to management, airport manager job description. You ready for that?
Yeah.
You guys have already looked at it?
Yes, I have.
You looked at the old one and the new one?
I have not. I remember the old one, but I have not looked at the new one.
The new one is
That's okay, I'll take a look.
wonderful. Far more detailed.
I would just caution the commission members on a couple of things. One, obviously, I've been involved in writing the job description, so it does cover 95% of the stuff I'm doing.
Well, that's important, right?
I mean, that is important, yes, but also keep in mind, you're not writing it for me specifically. This is what you want the airport manager to be
I
doing.
had some questions on the new one. I don't know all the abbreviations that are in here. For example, in preferred education, certification of DOE, is that
Department of Education.
Education, not energy. Okay. I think we ought to spell that out.
We can do that. And I think that was one of our comments we got from HR, was take those acronyms and
CM designee.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
In that same section from HR, they had indicated to spell the certifications, but then also to maybe include the or equivalent combination of education and experience.
I think that's a really good addition, yeah.
Okay. You can get that added in.
And then another kind of, on the front, we have it listed as a civil service. It should be it's not a civil service position, so you just say
okay.
non-civil service.
Non, I think when I first started working on that, I dropped the
Yeah,
non,
no,
I'm sorry. My typing.
The other consideration for the commission is with a CDL license.
Yes.
Yeah, what is that?
So we do have a couple of pieces of equipment, actually one, the big dump truck that does require a CDL to drive off-site.
That's a commercial driver's license?
Yep, commercial
Okay, I didn't
driver's
know what that
license.
was, yeah.
Specifically, it's a Class B commercial driver's license with air brake endorsements is what you're required to have. I do not have it. I do not drive that thing off-site. I have not had it for the 15 years I've been here.
Well, we don't have that as a requirement. It's just
It's
something
under preferred.
Well,
but
yeah,
it's not
and
required, but it'd be
the
nice.
question becomes if you still wanted to list it as preferred. I mean, if the commission wants me to get it, I will happily, work on getting
I think
it.
it's
Yeah, they're right.
among applicants. I mean, if we were to have an applicant come in and they had a Class B and a pilot's license,
It would be a big
It'd be great.
boost.
It'd be a decider, right? So that's
Yeah.
why we preferred.
So, okay. But I just wanted to catch that one with everybody
Okay.
because, yeah, it is something that we do have equipment that is required when we do have maintenance or anything like that that's coming on. Usually it's a combination. Either the equipment shop comes down and grabs it with somebody that can legally drive it, or Jet Air usually keeps one or two people on staff that have
have
the
the license.
qualifications that they can drive it over
What's
there.
a CM designee?
That's the certified member in the AAAE, the Association of American Airport Executives. So
we
that
need to
probably
spell
needs
that out,
written
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what a CDL Class B is, but the CM I didn't know.
Yeah, so that's the industry professional organization, if you will, and they have a couple of different categories of professional certifications.
Okay.
That's what I'm looking for. The CM is kind of the initial level. There's a level that's called Accredited Airport Executive. That level is what you'll typically see at the commercial service airports, Cedar Rapids, Chicago, LA. Those directors are that level, and
Higher level of,
yeah. But both of them are at least an industry recognition that you understand what's going on in aviation, and you can effectively manage, or should be able to effectively be able to manage an airport.
Yeah, I think those are the important ones. Pilot's license is nice.
It's a nice to have. It's
Yeah.
not required.
Right. If you can drive a truck, well, that's okay, but does the airport manager really need to drive trucks?
Well, and
Who
do
knows?
we want to have a 3 to 5 year ability, pilot's license or certification of Department of Education to achieve in 3 to 5 years? So exactly
To achieve what?
Yeah. And so what's that certification of Department of Education? So what is a certification of Department of Education?
It's the pilot license or certification of DOE to achieve in 3 to 5
To
years.
achieve what?
Okay, this was, I think it was part of the sentence from above by a DOE recognized accreditation body.
Yeah, I don't remember where that came from.
Well, that might have been because it looks like in the previous one,
I
the
think
bachelor's degree was the preferred education, so maybe it just kind of got.
Yeah,
I think I dropped it,
I
yeah.
think the or
Just take that out.
certification of DOE to achieve in 3 to 5 years, you just take that out.
Yeah.
I would just say pilot's license
Yeah.
preferred but not required. CM designee preferred, or ability to achieve
preferred,
within
yeah.
12 to 24 months. I think that's good. And CDL Class B air brake endorsement
Okay.
preferred but not required.
Yeah, those are under
Although it's in a
preferred.
separate section called
It's under
preferred.
preferred, so we're allowed,
Okay.
yeah. It was kind of hard looking at all of the other airports and all the other job descriptions, trying to merge and then
Well, I
put it
think
in the
you guys
format
have
that
done a
Iowa
wonderful
City
job.
has, which is a completely different format. So
Don't-
there's phrases I've moved around.
Don't beat yourself up. It's
Yeah, no, I think it's really
It's
good.
really good.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the
Yeah.
It was
hard work
Obviously, a
went
lot
into
of
this.
effort went into this.
Well, and then Mike helped me move things around to see if they made sense too, and yeah. Okay, so with these changes, then,
And the one I think probably that just we did add, or the driver's license with satisfactory
Oh.
driving record was added. That wasn't in the prior.
that wasn't anybody, yeah.
I think that's fair.
Yeah,
Because of all the meetings having to go to City Hall.
I mean, I think it makes sense.
As
but
good as our
you guys-
public transportation is,
I'm sure the commission would not like me riding the bus for an hour or two a day to get to downtown and back.
Yeah. No, I think makes a big
Call an
difference.
Uber. Or call an Uber.
we'd be paying for that though too.
So at this point, can we agree with these changes written out, that we would like to submit this?
So what's the process? Is HR will review it and,
So I did forward it to HR, and they had a few changes.
I
that
think we
I've
got
already
those in.
identified.
Yeah.
The only other one was under essential job duties and responsibilities, and this is really just kind of a word preference thing. It currently says interacts with and attends with city department head meetings, and she had just suggested maybe represents airport at city department head
that's fair.
meetings.
I like that.
Which-
Yeah.
Okay, we've got the
Under
changes.
Instead of
essential
interacts
job
with and
duties
attends.
and
I got it.
You found it?
responsibilities.
Okay.
Yeah, I get it.
I tried to lump these in similar sections,
No, I
but some of
think-
them moved
and
And you found a
around.
lot of different verbs, too. That's very-
action group.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I think probably
So I
would
think it-
maybe make sense to have HR give it another look after we've made the
Okay.
changes, but I mean, I guess,
Can we approve that we want it to go through at this point?
To HR and have
To
them review,
HR,
absolutely.
have them review?
yeah, and I guess it's just whether or not you then want it to come back again, or if you're just sort of approving it subject to these changes in HR.
That's what
I think
would
I'd like to
say.
do that.
Yeah.
That's what I would be too. And
Yeah.
so we don't need a resolution, just a motion on that. Okay. Well,
Okay.
I hereby, having read the job description and reviewed it here in session and having full support of the changes and understanding the process going forward, I would move that we forward this on and conditionally approve the changes subject to the Human Resources review and final approval.
I will second that.
Great, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Great work, really, honestly.
It's a lot of work. Okay, so then that'll come back and just be a sign-off afterwards, or this is it?
So the process, as I understand it, we'll give it to HR. I'll make the changes.
Yeah.
I'll give it to you to make a final pass review. We'll give it to HR. Then I think the question is if and when there's a pay grade change, how do we deal with that?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's gonna have to come back to you again then.
Okay, but that would be separate from this as a description.
Yeah.
This is our
Yeah.
proposal.
This is our proposal. Yeah.
HR needs to come back.
I mean,
and-
I'm understanding that you basically said you've approved this job description with the edits and after HR review.
Yep.
Yeah.
The pay grade issue would be a
Be separate.
separate issue
Yeah.
that we would.
Right.
Okay.
We'll have to-
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And HR, when we give it to Karen, we can ask her if,
What to do then?
at that point,
Yeah.
if it would need,
Another?
That will probably need a resolution.
It probably
Okay.
will.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that might be on the agenda for next time then?
It's
Probably.
possible.
Possibly.
Should be by then, a month to go through
And
the
would we go in
local- since
executive
they've seen it
session for
first.
that? Or is that something we just do openly?
No, I think you would just do that openly, because it would be, again, not necessarily, it's going to impact Mike, but you're not thinking about Mike.
No, we're not. We're thinking about the position.
Right, so.
Okay,
yeah, I
that
think
makes
it's
sense.
something you do in open session.
That makes sense. Okay.
Good, okay. Strategic plan.
Again, more meetings. Judy and Electra and I met with Regina Bailey last week and had a nice, wonderful conversation about the strategic plan and developing, having her develop the process for the next one. She did give us a proposal to consider. I did manage to get that in the packet with the revisions, so There is a little bit of homework for the commission as well. But in general, the timeline would basically be December to March 2022, 2023 for the meetings and collecting all the information and having Regina put something together. That can slide if the commission desires to a more springtime effort, if you so desire. Otherwise, the anticipation is it would look similar to the strategic plan that we have in place now. She has also engaged Jeff Davidson, who worked for the city for a number of years, was prior economic development and planning person, so he's familiar with all of the airport, or not the airport, but the city planning documents.
The one thing that she was bringing up was the survey, that we might want to have that involved. It's page 18. We might want to have something of that involved, because we'll be doing the fundraiser and having people thinking about the airport. So,
capitalizing on just the general, So. But her proposal for the strategic plan process came up to just under $12,000, which I'm pretty sure is where it was the last time we did this.
I just wondered, so these 3 one-hour meetings, is that really sufficient to conduct a SWOT analysis and to think outside the box on
the last time we did it, we had 4 meetings, but one of those meetings was really dedicated to the vision and mission statements, and wordsmithing those and making those. This time around, unless the commission really wants to dive into that again, I don't feel a sense to dramatically dive into those. I think they're working. I think they're great, and typically those are things you really don't want to change frequently, because that is kind of the overarching vision of how we're running the airport. So with that, 3 meetings, generally can, especially if you do an hour, each meeting, you can do a lot.
If they're well facilitated, well structured, you can get through a lot.
It has to be really well. I didn't participate the last time, so I don't know.
And the surveys go out ahead of time, right?
Survey data goes out, so it won't be back-to-back meetings. Basically, we'll have a meeting with Regina to kind of go over and verify the questions, and that the part of your homework is to take a look at the questions that are there, see if there's anything that we might want to ask either differently or include other questions. One of the nice things about, especially if we use the same questions, we can start to develop trend lines, because this will be the second time we've done this. So we can take the data we had from the first round, we can take the data we get from the second round, and we can start to trend, all of that fun stuff. You can play with data so much.
Page 23 starts the Airport Commission survey.
Okay, I was looking at that,
But back to the meeting schedule. There'll be a meeting, probably a couple of months off as the surveys are taken care of. We'll come back.
I participated in a few of these things in some other organizations, and sometimes they're like all-day affairs with people coming up with all kinds of great ideas, and people voting on them or putting play money on different ideas and things like this. And it can, it totally transformed one of the organizations I was with. Just all kinds of great ideas. And I'd like to think we have the opportunity to think outside the box.
And there will be
her survey, I think, has some ways in which you could put in ideas.
There'll be some of that. There'll still be a SWOT analysis to see what the Airport Commission thinks, and she's planning interviews with each of the commission members as well as city administration officials. So,
But as you think of things
and you thought of her because she did a great job the last time.
And as a former mayor and former city council member, she's familiar with the city and the city operations. And
that sounds fine. I just wanted to make sure that we were not just going to do some kind of rote process that takes an hour and we're done. You know?
No, I have full confidence we'll have a good product at
I
the
think
end.
Chris was involved with the last.
Chris was, yeah.
Ask him a little bit
Yeah.
about how that went. I know he was excited to be doing this again, so.
Yeah, it really can be a transformative thing.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't, because this barely it came in, I didn't get a chance to write a resolution, but if the
need a
commission
resolution to
wants
approve
to, I'll leave that up to Jennifer's decision. If she wants to save this for next month to have a formal resolution to approve the scope, yeah.
But she wants to start working on the survey in October, so.
I mean, our meeting in October is the second week of October. I mean, it'll be...
I don't think we're in any rush.
Okay.
I think we can wait.
So wait till next meeting to do the resolution.
I mean, I think we could try to do it orally, and then, but it's much cleaner to have the resolution.
Okay.
Works for me.
Okay.
Next
Meanwhile, you could let her know that she could potentially start.
meeting prepared.
Yeah.
Making the survey. I mean, she's got the surveys pretty well.
Well, and again, as the prep work, take a look at the questions because we'll have it on the agenda next month. And
Okay.
if there are any other questions or
Next is
or
resolution.
Homework
items,
assignment then to pull that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I can send those individually to everybody too,
Yeah.
so it's a little bit cleaner to find them.
Actually, that'd be nice if you could do that.
Without-
Yeah, that way I can just type them up.
Okay.
Okay.
Budget.
Budget. So, made Dan sit through most of the meeting to get to the budget, but good news is, I mean, we took your comments under advisement, if you will. The guys here are going to get spray and rent some equipment, so they're going to take care of that internally. But that is on our to-do list before the end of summer here, as we've kind of gotten past our 100-degree days, and now we get into the lull of not having to mow every day before we snow. So that is going to happen. Beyond that, outside of that, budget's looking pretty decent. We've got a couple of windows in the terminal building we're going to replace. There's, if you look at Matt's office and Danny's office, who's the finance guy, the seals are failing, so they're getting condensation in between the two panes. So we're getting that work taken care of as soon as the contractor gets out here and does it. That's been approved.
Can I ask you in regard to the windows? In the flight instructor's office, the windows in that office, in the morning, sun just glares on whoever's sitting across from the flight instructor. They either have to wear sunglasses or a hat. And I've been talking with Stacy about getting some blinds or something there, and I gather there's a problem with that.
I don't know of any problems.
I guess
Andrew's talked to me about doing some blinds in a couple of areas, so...
he thought they were going to be too expensive, so he was proposing putting just an opaque covering just to black out the windows, which I think is wrong. You know, we need natural light in there.
Yeah, I'll talk to him.
Okay.
I don't know what...
Nothing has happened for weeks and weeks.
Okay, I'll talk to him. But yeah, no, he talked to me a while ago about doing some blinds on various
Yeah, and I talked
windows.
to him about it too, and
I thought that was underway, or at least sufficient enough that I said, yeah, go ahead and do
Would
it.
that come out of the airport budget?
That would be out of the airport.
Because he was worried
budget,
it was
I
going to
think.
cost Jetter too much. So
Oh, it's not coming out of Jared's budget.
Not good air.
I wouldn't think so.
No, I
So
think
anyhow,
that's a landlord
he
thing.
wanted to conserve money.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, with some of the stuff we've been doing and some of the stuff we've got planned coming up, I have asked them to control like what they are doing for airport spending. So maybe communication got crossed a little bit, but
Okay, great. Thank you. Talk to him.
yeah, I'll talk to
It
him.
sounds like he's willing to do whatever he's asked to do.
Yeah, Andrew's a good,
Okay.
good worker.
Ready? Resolutions?
Leases.
Yeah, the resolutions on the leases.
Both leases are identical for basically identical type hangars. 3-year leases. Both of these tenants predate me on the field. But basically, what part of the reason they're coming up is one, they're the corporate leases, so I don't have the authority to enter into the contracts like I do with the T hangars. Two, I did kind of let a couple of them go on a month-to-month cycle just so I could line them up with the T-hanger contracts and get some things better aligned and happening at once because it's easier to keep track of. So both of them are proposed to rent for $404 a month. It also doing them both at the same time also equalizes the rates between the two because over the years they've just been leapfrogging each other. Which, when you have somebody paying $20, $30 more than the other one for a period of time for the same thing, they get a little annoyed. Trying to get everything, as equal as possible, and both contracts are proposed to be $404, which is about a $50 increase over what they last were combined.
So these aren't T-hangers, these are
corporate hangers.
Corporate hangers. So the hangar itself is a T, but they have attached office space.
I see, that's what makes
So
it
Harry
corporate.
Hinckley's hangar, Harry's the Interest Equities.
I see.
And Dale Yoder's on the other side of the building.
Okay. Sure. All right, well, I move that we adopt a resolution authorizing the chairperson to execute and the secretary to attest to corporate hangar lease between Iowa City Airport and Great Plains Aero, and also with the tenant of hangar 33, when I get to that.
They're two separate resolutions.
Two separate resolutions.
Okay, we can't do just a resolution
No.
to cover both. Okay.
No,
All right.
This is
We'll
what you
just do
did.
the one from Great Plains Aero then.
Okay,
And I'll do the second one, but let's do the first one. So I second that.
okay. Bishop,
Aye.
Claire,
Aye.
full aye. Okay.
All right. And I move we adopt a resolution authorizing the chairperson to execute and the secretary to attest to a corporate hangar lease between the Iowa City Airport Commission and Interwest Equities for hangar 31.
I will second that.
Okay. Bishop,
Aye.
Claire,
Aye.
full aye.
By the way, do we have those both saying 31?
One says 31, one says 33, I'm pretty sure.
Sure.
A2226 and A2227. Pages 35
Nope, they both say
and
31.
24.
Oh, they do?
They both say 31.
Oh,
Yep.
all right. We'll correct that.
Okay.
My copy says 33.
I think the resolution says 33, but the contracts might be.
No, the resolution I've got here.
Oh,
Page 35?
Page,
Page 35, corporate hangar lease
says number 31.
on yours. Mine says number 33.
Interesting.
Really, yeah, my
So-
page 35 says 31 as well.
Yep.
Okay,
And that's the revised agenda, so you'll need to fix that.
okay.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah, there is 31 in there.
Oh, okay, because mine didn't.
Okay. I see.
But it says both
Previously.
33 and
Yeah.
31. I see it now.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
correct that for
Okay.
autographs.
Good.
Okay. Okay. Events.
It's the end of the year. Pancake breakfast went very well for having poor weather all morning. The threat of looming rain. The rain itself stayed off till about 11:30. I think is when the first downpour hit. But fire department had a lot of trucks out here and a lot of trucks from area agencies to help celebrate their 150th anniversary. Had a small amount of fly-ins, not too many, and I think the threat of weather probably kept a lot of people at home. But all in all, when I talked to folks at about 11 o'clock that morning, they were up to 1,500 breakfast served, so everybody was pretty happy with the event. And that's, even with bad weather, that's one of the events that always seems to have good community turnout. So I'm still impressed with the numbers we get. One more movie, first week of October. I don't remember what it is, but I know it's Halloween-oriented, a spooky movie.
Okay.
And that's it for the year.
Okay. And Jet Air.
Jet Air, Matt didn't give me anything as far as an update goes. We do have the
printout, yeah.
maintenance report in the packet, but Matt is over in Galesburg with the Stearman Fly-In. The Stearman Fly-In is this week. So,
Okay. Commission members, reports, anything?
Nothing from you?
Nothing? Anything else, Mike?
If you didn't see the news, Chuck McDonald passed away. Chuck McDonald was the longtime executive director of the Iowa Aviation Promotion Group. He was also instrumental in Fly Iowa. Both times it was here. He was kind of the point person for and helped coordinate like the air show type activities with the FAA. So that's a big loss to aviation in Iowa. But outside of that, let's see.
I did have someone mention to me that they missed having air shows here. I know that's a lot of work and
Probably not going to happen.
okay.
The problem with air shows is it becomes a safety box that you have to
Yeah.
have clean, and
It's just getting harder to
it's
keep
just
that box.
harder to make that box on the airport with
Understood.
everything around it.
Understood.
It was a pain in 2014 when we did it.
But the city keeps growing, making that box harder to maintain.
That's it?
That's all I got.
Okay, so next meeting, October 13th, is that okay with everybody? You're
I
going to be
think it
around?
is. I think I'll be here.
Okay,
Yeah, I will
with us
be here,
too.
yeah.
I'll be back by then.
Mhm.
Okay, so we at least have 3. So other than that, so we adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned.
Great.